Radio Bypass, bringing you rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. Discover new bands. Here's some old favorites on Radio Bypass.
In 1968, four men sowed the seeds for a worldwide conquest. Two were working in London as musical hired hands, and two came from the wilds of northern England, toiling in relative obscurity. Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones were the Londoners, playing on countless sessions, and Robert Plant and John Bonham gigged together as the Band of Joy. When Led Zeppelin took flight in October of 1968, no one could foresee they would take the world by storm. Through 9 studio albums, their popularity and creativity seemed limitless. When they disbanded in 1980 after the tragic death of Bonham, the world never accepted the fact that the group would be no more. Oh sure, there would be an occasional reunion for momentous reasons, notably Live Aid and Atlantic Records founder Ahmet Ertegun's memorial service in 2007, but only a handful of people could witness these performances in person. But right now, Sony Pictures Classics has provided a chance for you to witness the next best thing. It's a docu-concert performance film called Becoming Led Zeppelin. Highly anticipated since its announcement, the film features a brand new sound mix, newly unearthed material from the archives of all 4 band members, including home movies and family photos, and exclusive interviews with Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, and John Paul Jones, as well as never-before-heard interviews with the late John Bonham. Here's John Paul Jones on how a phone call to Jimmy Page earned him a part of rock and roll history.
Yes, I called him up, and he said, well, he was just off up to Birmingham to, he wanted to get Terry Reid in on vocals, that's right. But Terry couldn't do it because Terry Reid said that there's a singer up in Birmingham and recommended Robert. And Jim said, I'm going to see Robert and he might know a drummer. And so he said, I'll call you when I get back, tell you what they're like. And he did. And here we are. We nearly didn't get the drummer. He's working for Tim Rose and he was earning 60 quid a week. And he wasn't going to give a good regular gig out like that. So he just sort of come out.
And what did John Paul think of Mr. Bonham?
Love at first sight. The drummer in a bass player's life is very important. And as soon as you recognize it immediately.
Becoming Led Zeppelin is in theaters nationwide right now. It's going to have a one-day-only third encore in IMAX theaters on April 2nd, and on April 4th, Becoming Led Zeppelin will be available on pay-per-view. Over the next hour, we'll whet your appetite for this extraordinary cinematic event with interviews from Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, and John Paul Jones. Hi, I'm Ralph Rasmussen. Welcome to Becoming Led Zeppelin All Access.
I can't stop.
Good Times, Bad Times, and Communication Breakdown with a sprinkling of the yet-to-be-released song Heartbreaker, done live in Paris at the Olympia Theatre in 1969. The band most times opened its early shows by playing these songs back-to-back, informing the audience they were in for a hell of a musical adventure. You can go on that adventure as well by picking up tickets to Becoming Led Zeppelin in theaters nationwide and available on pay-per-view as of April 4th. Jimmy Page.
The circumstances of the first album were that we'd rehearsed the set, or a set, and obviously the new material and the writing of, at my home where I lived at the time in Berkshire. The first sort of launch of it, if you like, of this material was in Scandinavia, where we did some dates, and then we came back to England and we were doing a few dates, like we did the Marquee Club, etc., some university here, probably Nottingham Boat Club. But we were getting into Olympic Studios. Well, we weren't in a position at that time to be able to block whole studio time, so we were sort of doing it a few hours here and a few hours there, maybe 3 hours here and 3 hours on another day. So the days, you know, you may see like 4 or 5 days that it spans, but it's only a short time of recording of each. But we were really efficient because we'd already played it, so we were able to get into it and work on little nuances of it and this whole thing of the light and shade that was to be. And that's it. I think it works out to somewhere in the region of about, in total, 36 hours maximum. And that's with all the mixing that was done as well.
John Paul Jones.
I don't think anybody sat down and said, this is what we should do. It's kind of happened, and it probably didn't happen on record because you couldn't. You know, one side would be dazed and confused.
Been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below.
From Led Zeppelin's debut album, the groundbreaking Dazed and Confused. Led Zeppelin fans know that Jimmy Page was invited to join the Yardbirds by his friend Jeff Beck. Shortly during Jimmy's first tour with the band, Jeff quit. The other band members jump-shipped about a year later, leaving Jimmy with the band's name. That's when he called Robert Plant as a new singer, and John Paul Jones called him when he heard that Jimmy was looking to put together a band using the Yardbirds moniker. Robert turned Jimmy on to John Bonham, and off they went, catching fire with each other musically immediately. They did a few shows in Sweden as the Yardbirds, but the members all felt that this was something quite momentous that deserved its own name. John Paul Jones.
The name Led Zeppelin was coined by Keith Moon, which was originally going to be for a band that recorded Beck's Bolero, which was Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Nicky Hopkins, myself, and Keith Moon. And I think we did a couple of tracks actually. And then the thought of it all going on the road, I thought, was sort of fairly horrific. Quite a bunch of characters, as you could probably imagine. And so that never came about, but we remembered the name and asked if we could use it.
Lying, cheating, hurting, that's all you seem to do. Messing around every guy in town, putting me down for thinking of someone new. Always the same, playing your game, drive me insane, trouble's gonna come to you. These days, and it won't be long. You look for me, but baby, I'll be gone. This is all I gotta say to you, woman. Your time is gonna come. Your time is gonna come. Your time is gonna come. My mind, break you this time, won't be so kind, it's my turn to cry. Do what you want, I won't take the brunt, it's fading away, can't feel you anymore. Don't care what you say, 'cause I'm gonna wait to stay, gonna make you pay for that great big hole in my heart. People talking all around, watch out woman, no longer is the joke gonna be on my heart. You've been bad to me woman, but it's coming back home to you. Your time is gonna come. 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 Your time is
From Led Zeppelin I, Your Time Is Gonna Come. John Paul Jones.
I used to just approach this thing with the greatest trepidation and fear.
That's next when Becoming Led Zeppelin All Access resumes after this brief intermission.
If you're a first-time listener to Radio Bypass, welcome, and thanks for checking us out. If you're a regular listener, thank you for your support. Whether you have been listening since our beginnings back in 2017 or hearing us for the first time today, we just want to make sure you know what Radio Bypass is all about. Our mission is to curate the best in rock and roll music, period. From the best of the big names to the freshest music from those yet to build their name. Radio Bypass provides a destination where classic artists have their new music heard and offers a platform to showcase emerging talent. We release a new music episode every Saturday that generally features hard rock music from some classic artists as well as new musicians honing their craft today. Along the way, we have conversations with the artists creating the music. Our guests have included veteran musicians, such as members of Tesla, Mr. Big, and Cinderella, along with brand new bands like Crashing Wayward, Novocaine, and Wings of Steel, just to name a few. We curate the best in rock and roll. Join Radio Bypass for great music and conversations every week. Please check out RadioBypass.com. Follow us on social media, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Radio Bypass, playing rock and roll music that deserves to be heard.
Hey Alexa, play the Radio Bypass podcast.
Playing Radio Bypass podcast from Amazon Music.
Radio Bypass. Rock and roll lives here.
Glad you could make it back to your seat in time for more of Becoming Led Zeppelin All Access, celebrating the release of the outstanding hybrid documentary concert film on pay-per-view as of April 4th and in theaters across the country now. Jimmy Page learned how to produce records when he was a session player in London during his teen years. He watched the producer Mickey Most and others, and he put it to good use when it came time to record his new band's debut album. Jimmy intentionally made the decision to use stereo mixes and other new ideas on the first record all the way through to the last one, and to avoid the trap of becoming a singles band. Jimmy Page.
It really was a conscious decision, because prior to that time I'd been in the Yardbirds, and it was very apparent what was going on in America, which was that there'd been a number of FM stations that had come on, well, it established. And these FM stations were playing what we'd now call alternative music to the singles. And you'd even get to hear them playing a whole side of an album. And I thought, oh boy, this is wonderful. This is the area to go in. Not the singles market, because the problem with the singles market, you know, you have a single that everyone's worked on, you know, this is the single. And you'd find bands that did that. The rest of the album material wasn't very good, because they were a singles market band. Not only that, when they did the next album, they had to do something, or invariably they did, something that sounded very much like the single off the first album, so everyone knew who they were. We didn't do that.
You need cool air, baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to school, way down inside. Honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, want a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love.
With Jimmy Page using the studio as another instrument in a revolutionary way, Whole Lotta Love from Led Zeppelin II, an album that started in Olympic Studios in London, but was mainly recorded while the band was touring in America. Each member of Led Zeppelin contributed their unique talents in order to create the musical magic the band was weaving. For example, John Paul Jones played bass, wrote music, and contributed to the arrangements of the songs. He also played keyboards in the studio and on the road. In order for his keyboard playing to break through the loud volume of the band playing live, they had to get creative. The solution to that problem opened the door for mischief by the other bands on tour with Zeppelin. John Paul Jones explains.
I had a Hammond organ and a Mellotron. Oh, that Mellotron. I used to just approach this thing with the greatest trepidation and fear. So when I put my hands on those keys, what is going to come out? Will it be in anywhere near pitch? Will it be at half speed? Will it be a string sound or a flute sound? Oh, because it was a system of tapes, literally of tape loops. And it was all mechanical, and there's plumbing inside of it and everything. And, you know, as the gig would heat up, the tapes would start stretching a bit, and the motors would slip, and I spent my entire technological career trying to replace the Mellotron. I went all over the world looking for things to replace the Mellotron, and I did. You know, and the Hammond organ was good. He used the old Brian Auger trick of putting the Leslie in the dressing room with a couple of mics so you can get it really, really loud, which does have its dangers, because you'd find that members of rival bands, and we used to do it to other bands too, you just creep into the dressing room in the middle of the gig and sort of shout obscenities through the mic.
Hey fellas, have you heard the news? You know that Eddie's back in town. I won't take long just to watch and see how the fellas lay their money down. A style is new, but the play's the same, and it was so long ago. But from her eyes, a different smile. I never want to know.
Heartbreaker, Livin' Loving Maid, the two songs that opened side 2 of Led Zeppelin II.
We would come into a town and, we got like 3 hours before the gig, let's find a studio. And it was hundreds of studios all over the world.
Find out what that's all about when we return in a few minutes with the last part of Becoming Led Zeppelin All Access.
Radio Bypass. Rock and roll lives here.
Hi, this is Mark Farner from Mark Farner's American Band, and you're listening to Brother Ralph on a Radio Bypass.
Hey, this is Jeff Keith from Teffa, and we're listening to Ralph on Radio Bypass.
Hey, everybody, it's Dennis DeYoung. And if you don't know who you're listening to, there's something wrong with you. This is Ralph on Radio Bypass. So listen, he plays new, old, everything. He's wonderful. He just paid me $7 to say that.
If you're a first-time listener to Radio Bypass, welcome, and thanks for checking us out. If you're a regular listener, thank you for your support. Whether you have been listening since our beginnings back in 2017 or hearing us for the first time today, we just want to make sure you know what Radio Bypass is all about. Our mission is to curate the best in rock and roll music, period. From the best of the big names to the freshest music from those yet to build their name. Radio Bypass provides a destination where classic artists have their new music heard and offers a platform to showcase emerging talent. We release a new music episode every Saturday that generally features hard rock music from some classic artists as well as new musicians honing their craft today. Along the way, we have conversations with the artists creating the music. Our guests have included veteran musicians, such as members of Tesla, Mr. Big, and Cinderella, along with brand new bands like Crashing Wayward, Novocaine, and Wings of Steel, just to name a few. We curate the best in rock and roll. Join Radio Bypass for great music and conversations every week. Please check out RadioBypass.com. Follow us on social media, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Radio Bypass, playing rock and roll music that deserves to be heard.
Welcome back to the last segment of Becoming Led Zeppelin All Access. I'm Ralph Rasmussen. The group did 4 U.S. and 4 UK tours in 1969. Amazingly, they dropped their second album, Led Zeppelin II, in October of that same year, a mere 10 months after their debut. Led Zeppelin II went on to become the group's first #1 album in the United States and in their native England. Jimmy Page.
If we look at the recording process of Led Zeppelin II, we began the recordings in Olympic Studios at Barnes. Olympic Studios was a studio where the Rolling Stones had recorded, and we'd recorded our first album there, so it was good to go back there. On that point, it was an engineer called George Scamps, and he did Whole Lot of Love, and he did What Is and What Should Never Be. So those wasn't a bad start to kick off this album, to have Whole Lot of Love and What Is and What Should Never Be. But the rest of the LP started to then be recorded while we were in America, studios in New York. We did overdubs on Whole Lot of Love in Los Angeles. I mean, the whole thing was really moving. We came back to do Living Loving Maid and Thank You. We recorded it in Wilston. So this album really traveled.
If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. When mountains crumble to the sea, there will still be you and me. Kind of woman, I give you my all. Kind of woman, nothing more. Little drops of rain, whisper of the pain. lost in the days gone by. My love is strong, here there is no wrong. Together we shall go until we die. My, inspiration's what you are to me. Inspiration, look, see. And so today my world, it smiles. Your hand in mine, we walk the miles. Thanks to you, it will be done. For you to me are the only one. All right, yeah. Happiness, no more be sad. Happiness, I'm glad. If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. Mountains crumble to the sea. There will still be you and me.
Thank You, a beautiful ballad off of Led Zeppelin II. Jimmy Page just told us that Zepp started the second album in London at Olympic Studios, but they did a bunch of it while touring America. How did the band manage to write and record such monumentally influential music while touring at the same time? John Paul Jones.
I have no idea. I really have no idea, because I'm, again, looking back on the track lists and then trying to work out where we did this stuff of lineup for credits. You start thinking, where did we do this one? And it was done on the road. You know, we would come into a town and, oh, well, we got like 3 hours before the gig, let's find a studio. And it was done in hundreds of studios all over the world.
Robert Plant.
What I like about that, in retrospect, and I probably wouldn't have said so at the time, was that there was a pressure to get a real good shape to these songs from my angle to complement the great musical bed work that was already there. So if we knew that in a couple of days' time we were going to be back in the studio again, I would really have to apply myself in what small amounts of time between travelling and touring to nuance something like Ramble On, which, apart from melodically, I mean, the lyrical content for a 21-year-old guy travelling through time in this sort of amazing rocket ship was quite a challenge, but it was a good challenge, and it was good for me that that was the case. And I've always really enjoyed the idea of putting myself and my musicians in the last 30-odd years in the same place. Time restraints create challenges, create some kind of response that you wouldn't get if it was an easygoing situation. So I like that, and I enjoyed that. So it was really good. As far as vocals are concerned, I mean, it wasn't the end of the world if I couldn't sing it. I could do it another time, but I still had to shape it, my side of the job.
Leaves are falling all around. Time obliged for such a pleasant stay. But now it's time for me to go. The autumn moonlight's my way. But now I smell the rain, and with it pain, and it's heading my way. Sometimes I grow so tired, but I know about one thing I got to do. I ramble on, and now the time is now. Sing my song, I'm going round the world. I gotta find my girl on my way. I've been this way 10 years till the day. Ramble on, I find the queen of all my dreams. Got no time for spreading news. The time has come to be gone. And though our health we drank 1,000 times, it's time to ramble on.
With lyrics written by a 21-year-old Robert Plant, that's Led Zeppelin's Ramble On. Unfortunately, that's the last song we have time for in our Becoming Led Zeppelin show. But before we go, let's give a final comment to Robert Plant.
How do I see Led Zeppelin today? I see it as a period of my life that was absolutely captivating. The excitement and the capacity to take what limited skills and craft I'd got and to find this kind of bed of this small nest of musical style and quality and energy that just happened to make it work for my bit too. But you do what you do. You contribute, you try. Your contribution is almost like some kind of diagonal input. It kind of meets the music and then blends and melds with the music to become the song. So I look upon it as a time of great romance, of me coming of age as a guy and as an adult, coming from kind of bolshy adolescence into a very tough cohesive, and at least initially, into a strong combination of guys, which really took me to places I never even imagined. It drew so much potential out of me that I didn't know I had. Because in all the work prior to that, I'd always been way ahead of everybody else. And in Zeppelin, I was just part of it. You know, I could never control it or contain it. And that was the great thing about it. That's why it was so satisfying when it was what it was.
Becoming Led Zeppelin is showing now in theaters across the country and will debut on pay-per-view on April 4th. Becoming Led Zeppelin All Access was produced in New Jersey by Near Perfect Productions for Sony Pictures Classics. All rights reserved. No portion may be reproduced without the written permission of the producers.
Hi, this is Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin.
Hi, this is Robert Plant.
Hi, this is John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin.
And I'm Ralph Rasmussen. Thanks for listening.